Gamers, welcome to part 2, in which we party manage and skirmish. If you haven't watched our first video, in which we saw some of the story and did some combat, you might want to check the link below. But,
you'll definitely want to get caught up.
Yeah, this is some good stuff. Not that I'm bragging. Now, here's the deck builder, which you unlock. These aspects unlock as you play through the first few stages, so the game kind of eases you in, teaches you it bit by bit. They unlocked in order, so you got deck builder, then dice equip, then dice crafter. That way you knew what to do with each when they hit you. So the deck builder, you can build a deck however you want, actually. The minimum required is 18, but it seems the sky's the limit, because it hasn't yet told me, by the way, you're loading up with crap.
Mm-hmm. Almost like the card game Duel Masters. You can have as many cards as you want. The only limitation is, you know,
You
are
might
you
have
actually
a
going to be
handful of
using them?
junk, yeah.
Exactly.
So there's a risk versus reward in building your own deck. Did I just totally... No, it's fine, it didn't save. Okay, like I...
You got enough heals?
Fudged it entirely. Yeah, no. Remember earlier when I complained about having not having too many heals? Yeah, and then shortly thereafter I was like, oh shit, I can't heal. Here's the dice equipment screen. These drop randomly after combat, and they give you a variety of different
options, really. Heals,
yeah,
special attacks,
because you know, you roll one of the 3 dice, or 6, up to 6 as soon as you unlock them by leveling, and you roll any one of these pairs that are randomly chosen. Now, different symbols, as you recall, do different things. So let's say there's a special effect on a card, like there's bleed on a card. So if I roll a star, then the card will inflict bleed. Now, of course, these red ones are bad cards. Bad cards. The looking card in the middle of there actually lets you draw on your turn, which is pretty useful because you may recall, you may not, having more cards in your hands when you counterattack actually does more damage. You're probably wondering why I'm equipping this. Well, I want to show you guys the Dice Crafter, which opens up even more strategy for ya, because you can actually change the dice to whatever you would like through crafting. So you select the equipped dice you wish to craft, which I just did, equip a set that I didn't really want, but I can change it for the better. Then you select any one of the symbols on the dice, and you select the new symbol you'd like to replace it with. Crafting does take other dice sets, so you'll want to do the skirmish battles as much as possible so that you can actually make a better card or dice selection for yourself. So I was complaining about heals. I'm gonna go ahead and replace this with a heal. Now you notice I need 1 star card and 1 heart. So let's find... I don't want to sacrifice this, and it's 2 stars in it. This one's got bad... Pastor's got quite a lot of stars.
Yeah.
Oh, this has everything I need. Nice. And craft. Ba-bam!
And boom, it's gone.
Yep, you can also raise the levels of certain dice, as long as you have enough. Of course, raising the level will cost more than just switching a symbol. So that's something to keep in mind. The locked ones, of course, mean that these are the ones that you absolutely have to keep. They can't be changed in any way. So, let us do a skirmish. These unlock around chapter 4, and they allow you to gain some extra experience by fighting in a stage that you've already completed.
Ooh. Hey, this looks awfully familiar.
Yes, I played this at PAX, actually.
You were coached by the lovely Andrea.
Yes, I was, and she told me, actually, that you guys get to see Bryce in action. She's awesome. That line of sight matters in this game. You can actually buy yourself, if you will, a little more time by staying out of sight because the enemy won't rush you. So let's say you don't have enough cards, let's say you're not happy with the state of your units, you can actually hang back, hide around a corner. So long as the enemy hasn't seen you, they won't pursue you.
Well, that's actually
so
super
close.
useful too. It gives you time to recoup and re-strategize too. Good lord.
Because the game does have quite a difficulty curve. If you're not familiar with RPGs, it's not gonna hold your hand. It's not unreasonable, but it is quite challenging. Pastor learned Bullet Hell. It's not as cool as it sounds. I was expecting like neon pew pew pew.
Mm-hmm.
But it
does it causes you pause, and it you know, makes you rethink your, you know, overall perception of the playing field. And that's one of the things I like about this game, is there's a lot of different ways to avoid combat. There's a lot of different ways to avoid being directly hit. And there's also a lot of, you know, ways to regain health and also, you know,
regain your
counter it.
advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Because trust me, if they can, the enemy will beat the ever-loving shite out of you.
Yeah, and it'll only take a couple of dice rolls too before you start realizing, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get this, and no, tides will turn and you will die.
I also like the risk versus reward in the dice. Will you risk your dice, or will you play it safe and go with what you've already got? You can control your fate. The game has no surprises. It'll tell you exactly how much damage you'll strike. There's no random crit. There's no RNG it relies on except for the dice roll.
Oh jeez, what is he? Oh,
He's strengthening his dice. That's a blue dice. So, Nico, you will be the first to recap our first impressions, and then we'll let you guys watch the rest of this without our commentary over it, just some pure gameplay for those who are interested. Go ahead.
As I mentioned, I do like the variety of combat strategy you have in just one level. On top of that, you have the freedom to build your own decks, to build your own dice sets, as well as get rid of the dice you don't want. So you have the flexibility to create a character that has, you know, either all attack or all support or a mixture, so long as your character can, you know, hold their own. Because you can't give an attacker all health and expect them to hold their own. You know, it just gives you that kind of flexibility to do what you want and kind of create the deck and build the characters that you want to fight for you.
Indeed, I love the art. I mean, I know they were inspired by Final Fantasy, but this feels like Final Fantasy Part 2. Look how gorgeous our figures are, and our environments, and our hand-drawn art. Like, goodness, some of the cutscenes actually start with hand-drawn art that looks like it was just painted. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. All of the, what are these called? All the particle effects are really nice too.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
Presentation,
the level design
is
also quite lovely too.
Indeed,
they're not like other levels, and the camera movements, being able to see the entire level and scope out your actions beforehand is super useful.
Yep, you can zoom in, zoom out. You can wiggle things around to make sure you're seeing all the enemies clearly. Oh, I can inflict bleed. He'll die next turn. Sweet. So that's an example of a card synergy. Because I got a star, it now inflicts bleed, which means he'll be damaged next turn, which means he hasn't got a chance in hell. And strategy.
Also, another thing that I like is the it might seem minor to some people, but it mattered to me in Dragon Age Origins and Mass Effect, is the banter between the characters. Like when they interact with each other, they're very different as far as how they, you know,
they feel like genuine human beings as opposed to just little cardboard cutouts of people that we're supposed to feel for.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's witty. I like the writing, and I like the way the characters are each.
She likes how crass the characters are as well. Earlier when when Bryce called Pastor a chicken shit, and he is, she chortled.
Yeah.
She's just a little kid. Come on now.
And then when your homegirl Nami there said, "You got to be shitting me," that took me by surprise. So that's pretty
She was surprised too, I imagine. Damned. I should probably heal, but I'm gonna kill him first.
That would be wise.
No survivors.
He's got quite a big weapon over there.
Ah, he's dead. Now, Bryce's special talent, she has that gauntlet. It's apparently integrating itself into her neurosystems. That's, not great, Nami. We're gonna withdraw and heal.
I like that you can retreat.
Spells are fabulous. Yeah, they're pretty nimble. I'll give them that. It can move a great distance. But gamers, this has been Children of Zodiarcs. Stay tuned, I will play another skirmish match real quick, so that you guys can see gameplay without us yammering over it, so you can really focus on the atmosphere. The music is fantastic. I know we've been talking over it for a good portion, so I wanna rectify that, and I can't recommend it more. I am excited that there'll be releasing a definitive release date soon, so stay tuned for that. If you don't find out from us, you'll find out if you're following the Steam store, which I do recommend. And yeah, Children of Zodiarcs, guys, by Cardboard Utopia. It is a strategy RPG, drawing some love from classics like Final Fantasy, and it's fantastic.
It's very well executed. From the combat to the deck building to the dice building. I mean, I guess you could argue it kind of also feels like Dungeons and Dragons as well, with what it takes to build your characters and make them your own.
It has tons of room for tweaking characters to be exactly what you want them to be. And it has a beautiful, fleshed out world that the story so far has been fascinating. I'm honestly curious to see where it will go, because it feels like around every bend there's a traitor going to stab you in the back, and you've got to figure out who is really friend, who is really foe, in a world that seems to hate you.
And you gotta admit, those weapons are pretty cool.
Oh yes, the character design is fantastic. We've said our piece, gamers. We've been need to know. Stay in the know.